and welcome to another video here on Forever Life and Fitness. Today's video is going to be slightly different to any video I've done previously. Today I want to talk about what is probably the most performed exercise, especially on Monday, aka National Chest Day, and that is the bench press. In this video I'm going to talk about the specific muscles used to perform the bench press, the technique that I found to be the most effective, and also a little bit about repetitions and sets. Before I start, I just want to say that the advice I give in the video is just from my experience of performing the bench press. It is a highly rewarding exercise, but if performed incorrectly can be very dangerous. And if you feel that you need some advice, please either seek guidance from a personal trainer, a gym instructor, or someone that knows what they're doing. With all that being said, let's get on and talk about the topic at hand. The bench press, or bench as it's going to be known for the rest of this video, is an upper body lift which predominantly targets the pectoral muscles. However, when performed correctly, it's an exercise that becomes a whole body lift which teaches leg drive, total body tension, and also stabilizes the shoulder girdle. When performed incorrectly can lead to serious muscle imbalances, which in the long run can lead to chronic shoulder pain. So as I said before, the bench predominantly targets the pectoral muscles, aka the pecs. Now as a lifter, I think it's very important to have some sort of an anatomical knowledge of the muscles you're trying to target. Not only will this improve your mind-muscle connection, but it will also lead to greater development over a period of time. So, the pecs. The pectoral muscles are the two muscles on the anterior aspect of the chest wall. They attach onto your sternum, and then they attach onto the upper part of your arm. The pectorals are made up of two muscles, pectoralis major, pectoralis minor. For the purpose of this video, I'm not going to discuss anything regarding pectoralis minor because it's not really relevant when we're talking about developing a good chest. Other than being a muscle that you show off under this medium t-shirt, the job of pectoralis major is to adduct the humerus and internally rotate the glenohumeral joint. And in English, it just means bringing the arm towards your chest and also bringing your shoulder inwards. Because of the intimate relationship between the pectoral muscles and the shoulder joint, it is really important that you do everything to avoid muscle imbalances, because muscle imbalances will lead to biomechanical changes within the shoulder, which over a long period of time can lead to chronic shoulder pain. So how do we perform the bench press? Like any lift, a proper starting position is imperative to perform this exercise correctly. When lying on your back, make sure your feet are firmly in contact with the floor. This will allow you to use a technique called leg drive. Leg drive is a technique where you use the strength within your legs to press your heels against the floor as tight as you can or as hard as you can to provide a stable base for you to press up from. Not only does this create a stable base and also tension within your core, it also helps to stabilize the shoulder joint during the movement. As everyone's anatomy is different, you may want to play around with the foot position to find out what's comfortable for you. I tend to like a neutral position with my feet firmly planted on the floor throughout the movement. Under no circumstances should you lift your feet up off the ground or onto the bench. Not only will this prevent you from using leg drive, you'll also lose your stability. Now you are lying on the bench with your feet firmly planted on the floor. Set and lock your shoulders into a neutral position for maximum strength and stability. Now that you are lying on your back, it's time to start lifting. So first and foremost, place your hands behind the bar so the bar rests in the web space between your thumb and the palm of your hand. Once in this position, slightly rotate your grip around the bar. This helps to lock your shoulder girdle into position, which will force your shoulder blades together. Now that you're in a good position and you have the bar in your hand, tighten all the muscles in your torso. Slowly take the bar off of the rack and lower it down in a controlled fashion. In terms of where on your chest the bar should end up, I always suggest around the bottom of the sternum is where the bar should be. You don't want it too low, you don't want it too high. Imagine that your chest muscles, when you're doing the bench press, are springs. And as you're lowering that bar down, tension in the spring is getting tighter and tighter and tighter to the point that it's going to have to explode back up. So if you think about it in that way, it will help you control the movement. Once you had lowered the bar to the lowest point and you're about to change direction, drive through your leg. Don't forget to breathe. Breathing is very, very important. You inhale as you're lowering the bar towards your chest, exhale as you're pushing the bar up. By forcefully exhaling as you push the bar up into the air or back to the start position, you increase intra-abdominal pressure, which will help to keep your core nice and stable and activate those core stability muscles. which will help strengthen them, and that will help support your lower back and reduce the risk of future injuries. I tend to refrain from locking my elbows out at the top of the movement, and that's just a personal thing to me. Doing the research for this video, I found a lot of people suggested that you should lock your elbows out. For me, I just find that it puts my elbow joint in a vulnerable position and it just doesn't feel good, so it doesn't work for me. However, you should try it for yourself because you may find it's actually very beneficial. As well as doing the exercise correctly, it's really important that you select the correct sets and repetition for you to achieve the desired effect. Like performing the bench press and having some anatomy knowledge, I am a strong believer that if you understand what stimulates muscle growth, you are more likely to achieve the desired outcome. So on that note, what stimulates muscle hypertrophy? Before we understand or get to grips with how we work our muscles, we have to understand that there are two types of muscle fibers. So the type 1 muscle fibers and the type 2. Type 1 muscle fibers, aka slow twitch muscle fibers, are those muscle fibers that are fatigue resistant, but they have the least potential for growth and force output. Type 2 muscle fibers, on the other hand, are the muscle fibers that have the greatest potential for growth and also force output. So those are the muscle fibers that we are concerned about when we're working on physique and bodybuilding or powerlifting or anything along those lines. We all have varying amounts of type 1 and type 2 muscle fibers in our body, and the ratio is determined by how we use our muscles. If we did long distance running, for example, we would develop more type 1 muscle fibers in our legs than type 2. On the other hand of that, if we did sprinting, we would develop more type 2 muscle fibers over type 1 muscle fibers in our leg. And if you look at athletes, it's very clear when you look at the average physique of someone that is a long distance runner and the average physique of someone that is a sprinter, there is a very clear difference. And normally the sprinter looks a little bit more leaner, appears more stronger. It doesn't necessarily mean they are stronger, but they appear more stronger. The muscles seem a bit more fuller. All the characteristics of type 2 muscle fibers. The long distance runner normally looks obviously not as heavy, generally a bit skinnier. The muscles don't look as full, don't look as big, and their muscles are more likely going to be more type 1 than type 2. And it's very clear in the distance that they can run that they have more fatigue resistant muscles in their body than say a sprinter. And here we have it. This is what determines your sets and your reps. Ultimately, if you want to stimulate more type 2 muscle fibers, then you need to work your body in a way that preferentially stimulates type 2 muscle fibers. Vice versa, if you want to be a long distance runner, or if you want to do something that requires fatigue resistant activity or fatigue resistant muscles, then you have to train them in a way that stimulates more type 1. So for aesthetics or bodybuilding, you want to be stimulating type 2 muscle fibers. Therefore, in terms of the repetitions, you want to work within the low repetition, but you want high resistance. That will help to stimulate the type 2 muscle fibers. As a rule of thumb, any repetitions between 4 and 12 stimulates type 2 muscle fibers. Now you can break that down to type 2A and type 2X, but I'm not going to go into that through this video. If you want to stimulate your type 1 muscle fibers, you need to do anything between 20 and 30 repetitions. It means obviously the resistance is going to be quite low because it's going to have to be low enough for you to be able to complete those amount of repetitions. Alright guys, so that's a very quick run through or quick tutorial of the bench press, the anatomy of the chest, the rep ranges that you should be using depending on whatever your outcomes or your desired effect is. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I have enjoyed making it. If you have enjoyed it, please hit the like button guys, that like button just below the video. It really helps me out and lets me know you're enjoying what I'm doing. Also, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the comment section. At any time I see a comment on my videos, I will reply back to them. If you feel like you need a bit more information or you don't feel comfortable going to do this exercise in the gym on your own, get some help from a gym instructor, personal trainer, even a friend that knows what they're doing in the gym. Do not do the exercise unless you feel comfortable. It's pretty simple, but at the same time, to new lifters, it's a new world. So please, safety first. All right guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you for watching guys. Don't forget, as I said before, comment, subscribe, share, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.